As we got older, Jane's violent tendencies lessened but did not completely go away. When I was 15 and Jane was 13, we went on a family camping trip. One night we were roasting marshmallows by the fire. Out of nowhere, Jane shoved me off the log we were sitting on, making me fall backwards into the fire. My legs got burned, though thankfully not severely. Jane apologized and said it was an accident, but I knew she had done it intentionally. Another time, we were hiking through the woods when Jane suddenly pushed me into a thorn bush. I was bleeding from all the scratches and again Jane claimed it was an accident. She said she tripped and fell into me. Our parents believed her, even though I insisted she had attacked me. The worst incident happened when I was learning to drive at age 16. Jane asked me to drive her to her friend's house across town. As I was driving, Jane suddenly grabbed the steering wheel and jerked it sharply. We went off the road and crashed into a ditch. Thankfully neither of us were seriously injured, but the car was totaled. Jane pretended to be distraught and said she had accidentally grabbed the wheel when she lost her balance. Our parents believed her, but I knew Jane had tried to make us crash. After each of these incidents, I begged my parents to get Jane more intensive treatment. They would punish her mildly but still excused her actions as accidents or carelessness. Jane was clever at hiding her violent tendencies from others. I felt isolated and afraid as it seemed I was the only one who knew how dangerous Jane could be. Finally, when I was 17, Jane tried to stab me when we were home alone. I managed to lock myself in the bathroom and call 911. This was the definitive proof I needed to show she was still a threat. Our parents could no longer deny Jane needed serious long-term treatment. She ended up going to a facility for troubled youth for several years. When she was released, my parents kept in touch with her from a distance, but I refused to speak to her. My parents weren't the ones that cut contact with her. Jane cut contact with them. Nobody heard from her for 2 months. Nobody knew where she lived. Nobody knew if she was even alive. That is, until we saw the news. We would have thought the police would have warned us beforehand, but we woke up one morning so see Jane on the news for first-degree murder. We couldn't believe it. After my parents went down to the station and demanded our questions to be answered, they told us that Jane had cut up the bodies and stored selective organs in jars, and dissected the rest. She got 50 years, 25 for each murder.